Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 MicroStrategy World Session for Workstation for Architects and Administrators. My name is Morgan Patterson, and I'm one of the product managers here at MicroStrategy. While I'm bummed that we couldn't have World in person this year, I hope you're enjoying our virtual session so far, from the comfort of your own home. I'm broadcasting to you from my apartment here in Washington, D.C., and please note that I made my bed for you this morning. You're welcome. As a product manager at MicroStrategy, I'm focused day in and day out on improving the experience of our platform for analysts, architects, and administrators alike. In today's session, we'll be covering Workstation, which we MicroStrategists like to call our one tool to rule them all. Let's talk about that for a second. In today's world, we expect our technology to do everything. Our phones don't just make calls anymore. They hold our email accounts, our shopping lists, our personal cameras, and for me, my New York Times crossword puzzles. Our watches no longer just tell time. They are our step counters, our sleep trackers, and our music players. In 2020, many of us even turned our homes into multitasking experts, converting what used to be a place to just relax with family and friends into an office, a classroom, and a gym, all at the same time. Evidently, multitasking is ingrained into our daily life and has become the expectation for everything that we use. For a long time, MicroStrategy has had a lot of different tools that do a lot of cool things really well. But there are upwards of 70 of them, ranging from developer, to command manager, to the connectivity wizard, to object manager, and plenty more. We realize that while these tools are incredibly powerful and really good at performing the task at hand, this model of siloed workflows needed to be updated for the modern user. And that's where Workstation comes in. With Workstation, we are bringing the same Swiss Army knife mentality that you expect in all other aspects of your life into a business intelligence platform. From one powerful tool, users can monitor and manage their environments, create and edit their schema, author beautiful dossiers and hypercards. You name it, we want users to be able to do it seamlessly in our Workstation product. Workstation is intended to be a modern, easy-to-use tool for all MicroStrategy users, ranging from the analysts who just want to create dossiers, to the architects that create the building blocks of the schema, to the administrators who keep the system running smoothly. Ever since we began development on this product, we've also been laser-focused on incorporating functionality from legacy tools, such as developer, web, command manager, and more, and making the most important workflows even simpler in Workstation. Speaking of, shameless plug to check out my Day 2 session on the top 10 ways Workstation makes your life easier to learn even more. But for today, what I'd really like to focus on is highlighting what Workstation is, why it matters, and why it's the future of our platform. The structure of today's presentation will be as follows. First, we'll talk a little bit about the overarching mission for Workstation and some of the key points that you need to know in terms of what we're trying to accomplish with our new REST APIs, as well as our front-end user experience. Secondly, I'll talk about some of the new administrative functionality and the end-to-end workflows that users can accomplish as part of the 2021 release. From there, I'll transition into the architect workflows and what we support in Workstation with regards to creating and editing your schema objects. Lastly, I'll talk briefly about what's left in terms of our Workstation journey. If there's anything that you take away from this presentation, I want it to be the following. First, Workstation is here to stay. We've reached a critical turning point in the 2021 release, and you can expect to see the vast majority of developer value delivered in this product over the course of the following year, as we release updates on top of the 2021 platform. Secondly, regarding those updates, Workstation will actually be moving to a monthly release cadence this year, meaning that new functionality will get to our customers even more quickly than our current quarterly cadence allows. Third, if you're not using Workstation now, try it out. Workstation does not require any additional licenses to use, and you can easily access it from the MicroStrategy download site. I encourage you to explore the capabilities that we talk about today. And as always, if you have feedback on how to improve it, chat with your account team about raising a customer enhancement request. I can vouch for the product management team that we love receiving them. Lastly, I hope that you leave this presentation learning something new and feeling excited about our new functionalities in this product and where we're headed in the future. I'll also be logging on after the presentation with a few of my colleagues for a live Q&A session for anything you're curious about. So pay attention, take notes if you want, and let's get started with the building blocks of Workstation. To frame the conversation about Workstation, it's important to talk about the three pieces that have governed our product development over the course of 2021 and will continue to govern our strategy moving forward. The first of these is the administrative use case. When we set out to create Workstation, one of the primary goals that we had was to radically simplify enterprise administration by marrying workflows that existed in our legacy tools and bringing them into one modern and easy-to-use interface. You'll see significant strides in this area with the 2021 release, as we've increased our monitors for environments, cube caches, user connections, and more. In addition, we've continued to bring settings from across the product into the Workstation interface, so that users don't have to toggle back and forth between tools to update their configuration. Secondly, MicroStrategy has been and continues to be differentiated from our competitors for our semantic graph. And let's face it, schema is really important. If we had no schema objects, we would have no dossiers, no reporting, and none of our powerful insights. Understanding just how crucial this is for our customers, we've been dedicated over the course of this year not only to building out a powerful backend for our modeling service, but also for enhancing schema creation in Workstation with objects like facts and filters. For the Workstation product, enhancements to the 2021 line will be primarily focused on supporting all of our critical schema objects in Workstation, so stay tuned for more exciting updates in the coming releases. Lastly, everything that you see in the user interface of Workstation, for both administrative and modeling functionalities, is powered by a set of comprehensive enterprise-grade REST APIs. What that really means is that anything in the UI can be automated and integrated with open source tooling to create custom workflows. This makes our platform more flexible than ever for our end users, especially for OEM customers or on-prem customers who do a heavy amount of automation. We're also hard at work wrapping many of these API workflows into our Python Mysterio package. Customers can leverage the functions in this Python library to automate their critical workflows in a modern, user-friendly language. Also note that your Python scripts can actually be stored directly within Workstation as of the 2021 release, and we'll be releasing further integration on top of the 2021 platform, making it even simpler for users to automate common tasks. You can learn more about our Python offerings in a separate World session, but until then, let's dive more into our administrative offerings with 2021. As we know, users and user groups are a key component of any MicroStrategy platform. Admins can specify how and when a given user can interact with and access MicroStrategy's secure, trusted data layer. And so for this reason, user management has been a significant area of focus for us in the Workstation product. What you're seeing on the screen right now is some of the end-to-end workflows that we support for creation and management of users within Workstation. So you'll see here that we have inside the Users and Groups tab under the Administration section, various capabilities, including the ability to create a new user, to create a new user group, to add members to a given user group, and to assign various privileges and security roles. We also support creating new security roles and being able to add all the necessary privileges that a given user would need to have in the system. On top of that, we've also released in 2021 the User Connections Monitor. So this monitor is net new in the Workstation platform, super excited about its release. But basically what it does is it takes all of the information that you would need to know about a given user, how they're interacting with a given application or a given connection source, and showing you various information about their connection time, their idle time, what server they're on, etc. One of the cool things about these monitors is that every new monitor that we've introduced as part of the 2021 release also has different filtering capabilities. So you can see here that you can filter by user or by source or by application to narrow down your results to find the most important information for you. In addition to our User Connections Monitor and the ability to create and manage users, one of the most important features that we have as a platform in MicroStrategy is distribution services and the ability to send information to users who might not necessarily be part of the MicroStrategy ecosystem. One of the new capabilities that we have in 2021 is the ability to view and manage subscriptions. So you'll see here that we have Subscriptions Monitor, which showcases the various subscriptions that you may have in your system across all different types, including email, mobile, cache update, etc. Once again, you can filter this view by the different columns that you might be interested in and sort of shopping cart select the ones that are most relevant to you. And from this view directly, we can also view additional properties, such as the owner, the time created, the time modified, etc. And we can also view the different recipients that are receiving a given subscription, which is definitely something that is powerful in terms of our admin's capabilities. And then lastly, just like we saw in the user connections monitor, this monitor also has additional functions for being able to filter down the view. So if you're just looking for, email subscriptions owned by a specific person in your ecosystem so that you can perform some sort of maintenance, that workflow is better supported in Workstation as part of the 2021 release. Another cool functionality that we have available as part of the MicroStrategy 2021 release is the ability to trigger individual subscriptions on the fly from directly within Workstation. So what you see here is I have my subscription monitor, and I can just right-click and choose to run that subscription now. And what that does is it triggers a subscription outside of its regularly scheduled window. The cool part about this is, as I mentioned previously, every single thing in Workstation is running on that REST API layer, meaning that it's actually easier to automate that workflow as well. So I can be, in my Python scripts and performing various functions and then choose to trigger my subscription once a set of requirements is met, really freeing up the automated workflows that we have to users, not only in Python, but also the fact that we support it in Workstation frees up a lot of flexibility as well. And one thing I am so excited about is the ability to create multi-content email subscriptions. So this is something that is not yet available as part of the 2021 general availability release, but will be coming soon in one of those monthly Workstation releases. So if you are someone who is an administrator that sends out content that you really just wish you could send one email with multiple pieces of content in it, that will be supported very soon. So stay tuned for that ability. But you'll notice here that we've brought critical workflows from web that previously were only available in web through distribution services and surfacing them in Workstation in a much cleaner, more modern UI. So you can see here that I'm adding my content. I can specify my recipients, whether it's contacts or different users in my system. I can choose my delivery cadence, whether it's a schedule or an event. I can choose the subject of my message and also select a message for my recipients, designating those various macros as well. And then from there, down the line, it'll appear in my subscription monitor, showcasing that it has been created successfully and that my users will actually receive that subscription. And then later, maybe I want to use my trigger to run now and send that outside of the scheduled window. So another critical functionality for many of our administrators is the ability to monitor cube caches. And you'll see that we've introduced a net new cube cache monitor into Workstation as well as part of our end-to-end mission to include all of those critical administrative workflows. So within the Monitors tab, you'll see that we have the cube cache monitor. It has some pretty cool visualizations that were not available in some of our legacy tooling that provide information about the various memory usage across your different cubes. It'll show which cubes are loaded versus not loaded versus syncing, etc. And you can also view different cube cache information across applications and across different cube owners. And again, this is a similar structure to what we've seen in all of the other monitors in that you can sort the columns, you can filter your view by the relevant information to you. In addition, we also have other information available about your various cube caches. So we have the Properties tab. We have information about your SQL execution, which will showcase a little more info about how that cube is interacting with your database server. And then lastly, we also have information about the dependencies. So this will showcase all of your MicroStrategy objects that are leveraging this cube cache in order to run the reports or to refresh. So this cube cache monitor provides a lot of critical information already, and we're also working on some enhancements that will be available on top of that 2021 line to provide even more information about SQL execution details, as well as information about how different users are interacting with these cube caches. So we'll be pulling some platform analytics data to provide even more information for our admins. In addition to cube cache monitoring, it's also critical for our admins to be able to monitor database connections. So you'll see here, we have another net new monitor, the database connections monitor, which will show all busy and cache connections to the data warehouse for a given node. You can view the different users, the database instances, and the database login information under the Properties tab, and you can also multi-select and disconnect cached database connections with ease. And of course, at a high level, it's important for admins to be able to monitor nodes and services as well. So getting just a high-level glimpse at the system, we have the Nodes and Services tabs within the Monitors view. showcasing how the environment health is performing across different services as well as by nodes, and the admins directly from within this view can monitor, start, and stop services. So with the ability to monitor the health of your system and view various information about your user connections and your database connections and your kube caches and your subscriptions, with this overwhelming amount of information, we want you to be able to successfully troubleshoot if you find that something in your platform is awry. And so to that end, we have been focused on including the ability to manage all of your settings from within Workstation without having to toggle between various tools. And so you'll see here that we have added, as part of the 2021 release, all server level settings. So we have the governing settings for jobs and sessions, which is what you see on the screenshot on the screen right now. And if I click on this little advanced button at the top right, I have additional settings for memory, for jobs and user connections, and for cache and log sessions as well. Lastly, we also have an all settings section. And one of the cool things about this is that we've introduced a search bar. And it seems like a very simple task, but previous versions of this tooling where you were assigning privileges did not have this. And so it took a really strong MicroStrategy expert to be able to dig through various licenses and know exactly what privilege was where. And so having this search functionality makes life a lot easier for our admins. In addition, we've also been focused on adding application level settings. So you'll see here that if I click on a given application or project in my Workstation system, I can view all of the settings related to that project. And again, I can search to narrow results here as well. Another cool functionality that we've added as part of 2021 to really make life easier for our admins is the ability to import and export settings from a CSV file. Oftentimes, we found that our administrators would have settings already stored on an Excel sheet or something similar, and they just wanted to upload that more easily into the system instead of having to painstakingly, change every number and toggle every switch back and forth. And so what we support now is the ability to import or export those settings directly from within the Workstation view. So you'll see on the top right of any settings screen, these import and export buttons. From there, if I'm importing this information, I can simply drag and drop a file or browse my system for the relevant information that I need. From there, Workstation will actually check for me which settings are trying to be updated, and I can multi-select which ones I actually would like to change. And then I'll be prompted to restart my intelligence server, but it's as simple as that. So really making a pretty painless process out of this workflow. So we've talked a little bit about some of the new functionalities that we have available for our administrators, but it's important for us to also think about how we've improved Workstation for our architects. Architects are some of the most critical personas that we have in the MicroStrategy ecosystem because they are the ones creating and editing those schema objects on which we rely for our reporting. And so to that end, we've been focused on enhancing the architect personas workflows in Workstation as well. One of the cool things that we've introduced as part of MicroStrategy 2021 is our schema tab. So with this tab, you'll be able to view, lock, and reload your schema all from one place. And this is particularly advantageous for users who have a large number of projects or corresponding schemas because they can sort by the number of attributes or hierarchies or transformations and find that information even more quickly using our filters. In addition, from this view, you'll also be able to see whether a given schema is locked. So if a user is, playing around with the schema, creating new objects, etc., users will be able to see directly from within this view whether or not they can go in and make those changes. On top of the schema editor and the schema monitor, we've also been focused on adding additional object editors as part of Workstation 2021. So the first big one is warehouse tables. The second big one is facts. So previously we had available our metrics, but now we have the facts to back it up. In addition, we also have filter supported as well. So these are three critical objects that were not previously available as part of Workstation, but are now part of the 2021 release. And again, this is building on top of things that were already part of Workstation pre-2021, including metrics, applications, dossiers, etc. Diving into some of these functionalities in a bit more detail, one of the first things I wanted to highlight was some of our new filter capabilities. So users can now create standalone filters for a given application that can be reused across your different documents, reports, and dossiers. So with this view, you'll see here on the screen that we have the object browser available, allowing you to search across different projects for the given objects that you would like to add to your filter. We have a much cleaner UI, but a similar user experience that we've had in our previous legacy tools. And you also see that we have the ability to create and edit filters with those prompts. And also we support dynamic dates filters, saving and importing or exporting from a list of elements with form qualifications and other enhancements. In addition, we also have a new fact editor. So this is a brand new UX for creating and editing facts directly from within Workstation, again, preventing users from having to toggle back and forth between our legacy tools. So from within this view, you can edit your facts, your different properties, and fact expressions. So I have a quick demo here showcasing this in action. We go to our file menu, we choose to create a new fact, we specify the application in which we would like to create it. And then from there, we can choose, again, using our search. This was not something that was previously available in Developer. We can search for our logical tables, choose our different columns, and define our expression. We, again, have validation available to make sure that your fact is validating correctly with the equation that you have provided. And we also support those multi-form facts or multi-expression facts. So I can add for revenue, for example, not only just total dollar sales, but also quantity sold times the unit price times the discount. And I can specify my data type at the end. And once I've gone through this process, I can save my fact and then be able to reuse it within my MicroStrategy system. In order for us to build those facts and build these various objects, we need to be able to actually bring those tables into the MicroStrategy schema layer. And so to that end, we have provided the ability to edit schema and access your data warehouse catalog directly from within Workstation. So one of the cool things that we have here is the ability to actually search your data catalog. Again, something that's new within Workstation, but provides a much better user experience for our architects. In addition, we can also search across the different tables that we're using and show how the warehouse tables are mapped to the various logical tables and how those attributes and facts correspond to a given logical table and the associated columns. And then lastly, at the bottom, you can also see the different formulas that you're using and how those objects are actually appearing in your MicroStrategy schema layer. We've kind of gone through some of the high-level facts, but you might be asking yourself, where are the attributes, right? Because we support these facts and these metrics, but attributes are obviously a critical part of our MicroStrategy schema layer as well. So while they're not available as part of the 2021 general availability release, this is really where I want to stress the importance of being on the 2021 platform in order to be able to access all of the rich functionality that Workstation will provide. Attributes are coming as part of one of the first monthly releases that we have of Workstation in calendar year 2021. So we have a quick demo here showcasing it in action. So you can see that our team has been hard at work on this. So it'll be coming to you very, very soon. So within this view, we have the Forms tab, the Relationships tab, and the Display and Sort tab. So right now I'm kind of playing around within the Forms tab, showcasing the different attribute forms that I have. And from within this view, I can also, choose my lookup table, choose the key form, and play around with the different columns and expressions. Then from within the Relationships tab, I can get information about the different hierarchies. And from within the Display and Sort tab, I can choose how my attribute both displays on a given report and how it sorts as well. And one thing I wanted to highlight again is, remember, everything that we're doing in Workstation is built on this layer of comprehensive enterprise-grade REST APIs. So what you're seeing right now is just a quick demo of the attribute APIs that are actually powering that user experience that you just saw on the previous slide. So anything that you see in Workstation, I just wanted to reiterate, anything that you see in Workstation can be done in the REST API layer and automated, which means that you have a ton of flexibility in terms of your end-to-end workflows to be able to automate things in the way that you need. And of course, I mentioned this previously that attributes are part of the first wave of new functionality to be introduced into Workstation during the 2021 calendar year. But on top of that, we're also very focused on adding the rest of those schema objects during the course of 2021. So if you were hesitant to start using Workstation before because not all of those schema objects were yet supported, that's one of our main goals for this year and something we are committed to bringing to development, right? So we want to make sure that we have those attributes, our hierarchies, various prompts, transformations, freeform SQL tables, you name it. We want to make sure it's in the Workstation product to provide the flexibility that you need without ever having to toggle to another tool. So as we've talked about some of the new functionalities available for our administrators and our architects, I also wanted to spend some time to highlight some of the ways that MicroStrategy Workstation allows you to troubleshoot your system more easily. This is particularly important because we understand that Workstation is a new tool for many people. We want users to be as successful with this tool and their MicroStrategy platform in general as possible. And so to that end, one of the cool functionalities that is exclusively available in Workstation is the ability to send remote diagnostics. Remote diagnostics are basically just information about your platform that gets sent back to MicroStrategy to help us help you even better. And there are two ways that you can do this. The first of which is if you are a customer on distribution services, you can choose to send this diagnostic data back to MicroStrategy on a regular scheduled basis using a distribution services subscription. Alternatively, if you just have a certain problem that you want to just send this information on the fly to be able to provide that context to support when you're on the phone with them, you can go to a given environment, view its properties, and from there you'll see a diagnostics tab that allows you to send those diagnostics on the fly. So this information includes environment, platform, and license data. And within the 2021 release, we also enhanced it to include additional information about your server and application level settings. Note that no personally identifiable information will ever be shared with MicroStrategy, so you can be sure that your data that's sent back to us is going to be completely secure and really just the basics of what we need to help you be most successful. In addition to remote diagnostics, we also have built-in functionality within the Workstation view to be able to access critical links more easily. So the first one of these is the Getting Started page that will launch the MicroStrategy Learning Center to help you be as successful with the product as possible when you are first using the Workstation tool. In addition, we also have direct links to community where you can ask different questions and engage with other MicroStrategy experts whenever you have an issue. And then lastly, another cool functionality that we've introduced as part of the 2021 release is our Expert.now capabilities. So I have a quick demo of this here, but essentially what this does is I can choose Expert.now, and it will launch a window allowing me to specify what my problem is. Maybe I'm having some issues with my configuration settings or my application settings. I can choose what area this falls under, specify some additional parameters about my language, upload a file as necessary. Maybe I exported my settings to a CSV file, comes in handy. And later I can choose a time that I would like to have a virtual Zoom call with one of my MicroStrategy support experts. From there, Workstation will match me, and I can choose to have that call and get through that problem a little bit quicker than I would, versus supporting a case. We spent a good amount of time today focusing on some of the new functionalities available in Workstation 2021 for admins and architects alike. But I wanted to just highlight briefly some of the new functionality that we'll have coming as part of the 2021 update releases. As I mentioned previously, Workstation is moving to a monthly release cadence, so I encourage you to get on the 2021 platform version so that you can take advantage of all of this cool functionality available over the course of the next year. Some key workflows that we're hoping to focus on are first under the user section. So this includes items like scheduling LDAP refreshes, and also a lot of areas related to distribution services and creating subscriptions. So I highlighted previously that we'll be focusing on adding those multi-content subscriptions to Workstation, but we'll also be working on enhancing our administrative workflows to support them, including triggering events, adding contacts and contact groups, adding personal addresses, etc., all within the Workstation realm. In addition, we're also hoping to enhance the actual look and feel of the emails that we deliver, allowing you to bring in different visualizations from a dossier or add dynamic text directly inside the body of the email instead of exclusively sending your content as an attachment. Additionally, with respect to applications, we'll be adding to our administration capabilities for managing applications within Workstation, allowing you to delete, load, unload, and duplicate various applications, as well as schedule administrative tasks. We're also working on bringing intelligent cube creation and report creation directly into the Workstation interface. So again, you don't have to toggle back and forth between some of those other legacy tools. With respect to environments, we're continuing along the path of adding more insight to your Workstation user experience by adding the ability to create and monitor your database instances, actually connecting you to your data sources. And in addition, we're also adding our job monitor and the ability to manage cluster memberships in multi-node environments. Lastly, I said it before and I'll say it again, we are acutely focused on bringing those end-to-end modeling workflows into the Workstation platform so that users don't have to toggle back and forth between developer and Workstation to create all of those essential schema objects. This includes coverage for attributes, for derived elements, for those different prompts, freeform SQL for logical tables, all that good stuff. In addition, we're also hoping to pursue multi-user schema editing so that when the schema is locked, multiple users can be editing it at one time instead of just having to rely on one architect at a given moment. With that, we have reached the end of our day one session on Workstation for architects and administrators. We've covered a lot of content today, ranging from what Workstation is, why it's important to our platform, new functionalities for admins and architects, and I hope that I got you at least half as excited as I am about the new functionalities available to you in this product. I encourage you to download Workstation if you have not already done so. Friendly reminder that it doesn't take up any extra licenses, so you can already start playing with it today, and let us know any feedback that you have. I look forward to it.